Hi everyone. So I'm going to tell you a bit about what I've been up to, and then about my first day biking, my first day back biking. So yeah, I didn't really make a video for Egypt just because Jen and I didn't do much sort of sightseeing or anything super interesting. I just worked a bit at the school and yeah, nothing that was really video worthy. But no, I quite enjoyed it. It was fun to be back at the school and fun to be with Jen. But then I came back, or I started journeying again to Istanbul on the 17th. And then stayed in Istanbul for 2 or 3 nights. So yeah, really just getting stuff ready for, got my bike back. That's about it. It was just about like settling in, getting my bike back, getting everything I needed. Got these gloves just because it's a lot colder than I thought it would be. But yeah, more on that about when I talk about the first day. And then the interesting part was, so I took the bus from Istanbul to Burgas in Bulgaria, just because I knew that in Turkey, like, riding your bike isn't great. Just a lot of highway and slightly dangerous. So I decided not to do that. Instead I went to Burgas by bus, and then I'm going to keep going north, taking some breaks in the middle. So from Burgas, I had to find my hostel in Burgas. I found a hostel. It was called the Hug Center, so why not? And the pictures looked really, really cool, like really cozy. So I went for it. Went to the address that was indicated, and I could not find it. I just went around a couple of times, just around the block where the hostel was supposed to be. There was no sign, no nothing. I couldn't even find the number. And at some point, this guy who was smoking outside of what I thought should be the place, but it was just a bunch of like really, it looked like army barracks, but that were being renovated. So I was like, that can't be it. Like, that doesn't look right. But yeah, and this guy smoking like beckoned me over, so I went and I kind of like showed my phone. I was like, do you know where this is? And he didn't really answer me. He didn't say yes or no. He just like kept telling me to come closer, and like, all right. So I took all my important things with me just because I didn't know what was going to happen. And then he went to get another guy who spoke English really, really well, and he's like, yeah, that's my address, and I just didn't know the thing was active, and so I told him that I just found him on Hostel International, and that, you know, I booked my room. He's like, oh well, you're the first guest then. And so the story was the story of the place was that I didn't understand if he inherited it or when he get it, but before it used to be kind of a camp for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, where like girls would be in one of those like long army barracks, and boys would be in the other, and in the middle there'd be like showers and toilets and everything like that. But that lately he's been using it for warm showers, so like that cycling website where you can find a place to stay for free. And he's like, yeah, I had a lot of people from warm showers, and so everything was set up for bikes. It was kind of cool. There were bikes everywhere, and I even had something to repair on the bike, and he helped me do that. But yeah, there was just, oh right, and so once I told him like, oh okay, when he was like, oh, you're the first guest, I didn't know it was active, anything. He's like, don't worry, I'll find you a bed. Like, you'll have a bed. You don't need to look for anything. And so yeah, and he was renovating. Oh right, and then he's like, well, let's make it into a proper thing. So I'm gonna renovate the whole thing using renewable recycled materials. So he would go to houses that have been knocked down and recycle all the wood, like take the wood back and then use it for his building. And so it looked really cool, but it was in the middle of construction, so it was not ready. So instead, he told me I would live sort of below his house, and so yeah, there was just a rudimentary bed on like pallets, wood pallets, and so just a mattress on top, and I slept there. And yeah, there were 2 cats who were just hanging about, and to heat I had like this little wood stove, kept me warm. But that's it. So it was just it wasn't great, but it was worthwhile. And since he had a lot of biking people come over, he asked me like what I wanted to do. So I told him, and he's like, oh well, you know, if you want to go to Varna, like how about you stop here to sleep, and because there's a beach where with sand, when you rub it makes a noise. So that seemed really interesting, so I wanted to check that out. And then he's like, oh, and halfway between the sand and here there's another place. It's UNESCO, like it's a city, Nessebar, something like that. And yeah, it's an old Greek city, you should check it out. So he had a lot of recommendations, so I went for it. In the morning, 9 a.m, I go off and it's drizzling, and it drizzled most of the day. So most of the morning it drizzled, so by the time I got to Nessebar, everything was wet, especially like the roads. There's a lot of dirt on them, and with all the water it like splashes back, and so my whole back was covered in mud and wet. And yeah, my saddlebags were all muddy and gross. My water bottle was muddy and gross. Yeah, everything was just bad. And yeah, so Nesbad was kind of cool, in terms of like they were still a lot of buildings, but obviously like they have been maintained, like redone a little bit. Like it was not original, like it was not falling apart as you would expect it. And some of it looked way too new, but it was really nice. Took a couple of pictures, but it was a really cloudy day, a little bit like right now actually, which I'm not so happy about. But yeah, otherwise it was just no tourists at all. Like two restaurants were open, and they were like beckoning me. They're like, come, like eat here. But I had my snack, like I needed to eat it because otherwise it'd be just extra weight. And so I was like, oh no, it's okay, thank you. But yeah, everything else was closed. Like you could see that in the summer it'd be a hotbed of tourists and shops and everything, but everything was closed. So it's kind of cool to see it on my own and to have everything to myself, but at the same time, like the weather was terrible, so it didn't really make for good pictures. And then I kept going, and that part is the part where there was the hill, so I went uphill, had to stop once, so I'm a little bit out of shape. But then as soon as I reach the top and it sort of levels out for a bit, it starts raining hard. So everything just becomes wet again and cold. Like my gloves were just so heavy with water. I would like squeeze them and water would just come out, so it was bad. But yeah, that was yesterday. And oh right, I also asked Evgeny, who was the guy from the hostel, if camping was allowed, like how did that work, because he had a lot of cyclists come over. And he's like, yeah, camping is fine, and actually like you can camp in the area that he showed me with the singing sand. So I was like, okay, perfect, like I'll just set up my tent, I have warm clothes, I'll just do it. But that was as soon as I got there, I couldn't see the beach because there was so much construction, and yeah, like a lot of hotels and things used in the summer mostly, I'm guessing. And there was this one security guard who just turned me back. He's like, no, you can't come here. So I turned back, went into the town. I saw there was a campsite, so I went to it and it was closed, which I wasn't really surprised by. So instead I just looked at Trivago and found a hotel, but it was a pension, what they call it, pension. So I found one, went to it. It was the closest one, and at that point I was wet, tired, I just wanted to relax and find somewhere dry and warm. And yeah, the people again were surprised that I was here. It's like, you know, you're anyway. I don't see why they were surprised, but yeah, and they didn't speak a word of English, so I had to make do with sign language and what I could. She was not too pleased. There were older people, like grandparent age, and yeah, they didn't seem too pleased that I was there. I was just, yeah, it didn't make much sense to me. But they found me a room, and then they put on a channel. Like, they were worried about the TV not working. I'm like, I don't care about the TV, like, just leave it off. I don't. But they were like, no. So I went down to get my stuff, and by the time I came back up, they had the TV working, and they put on this traditional Bulgarian channel. So I'm not sure if everywhere has this, but it's these mostly girls or women, like, singing in traditional clothes in Bulgarian. I'm guessing traditional songs. And sometimes you have people playing instruments. So at some point you had like a couple of old ladies on benches like clapping along. So it was a really kind of fun channel. But after 15 minutes I was done. I need to change the channel to something else. And yeah, I stayed in the shower for a long time. Oh right, and then so I was like, I don't know if she likes me very much. Like, I hope yeah, I don't feel bad for coming because I'm paying for it. But yeah, like, I hope I wasn't too much of a disturbance. And then they came up with tea for me, so that was really kind. And yeah, and that was just so nice to have warm tea. And that's about it. And yeah, I just stayed in that shower for so long. I tried to wash as many things as I could. I tried to leave all the dirty stuff. I put all my luggage and not luggage, but all my things in the bathroom, just because it was one of those showers that like the bathroom is the shower. You just, yeah, the whole floor will get wet because it's kind of like a shower. So I figured if I get it dirty, it's not like it won't be too bad to just wash up. Yeah, so that's what I did. And then I used the same clothes I did yesterday, that are all wet, but I didn't want to put it in my luggage because then it would make everything else wet. And I'm hoping that tonight I'll have a proper hostel where I can dry my things. Yeah, and so that's about it. And I'll tell you more about like this morning and today in the next video. So I'm hoping to reach Varna in 2 hours. And that'll be good. It's almost 1. So yeah. But yeah, really tough day back. Today is going by a lot smoother, but again, I'll keep that for the next video. Alright, bye.